Hello, everyone, and welcome. If you were here 24 hours ago, bravo. I can't read. Andreas got a good laugh out of it. But Andreas is the one who's chuckling. Welcome, Andreas. And Robert Alm, um, the illustrator. Welcome to you as well. But you didn't know that yesterday um, I went live or thinking that we were going to go live. And then I reread Andreas's message saying, "How would you like to do this on Sunday?" And I work, I work on Sunday, and my mind just went, "No, it couldn't be that day." So anyway, here we are. Um,
I got some brief moments of panic before I realized because I read it when you'd already realized the fact. I had a big few moment, but I had a few seconds of panic.
well, great. If I can give some panic to somebody who's used to being online and stuff, great, awesome. Um, Tonight, we're going to be talking about the Kickstarter, Windheim, Fallen. This is part two, and so we're going to get to that. And of course, Robert is involved in that. But I want to kind of just play something for everybody. So I'll just see if this works. The battle for Windheim begins. So I've just played the opener for the Kickstarter, and I have both the books up, and in another window I have Sweden Rolls. Um, how excited are you?
Super excited, super excited. It's been going so well. When you do a sequel, you're always a bit nervous. Like have people even finished part one? Like, is this too soon? Um, did they like it? Do they want it? But I mean, this Kickstarter is actually overperforming the first one, which broke a Swedish record for new new RPG creators on Kickstarter. So
Oh,
it's going like over and beyond every anything we could have anticipated. So we're super happy. Yeah, couldn't be happier and more excited.
that's awesome. I've just put up a thing about the awards that you've received. And am I right in understanding that you had 10 Phoenix Awards
Yeah,
or
exactly. We had
Phoenix? Oh,
we were nominated in for three categories, 10 categories, and we won 8 gold and 2 silvers. And we were up against the official bestiary monster book from Free League for Dragonbane and the big campaign Path of Glory. We were up against a massive supplement for Call of Cthulhu Sweden, which was a supplement set in the city of Lund, which is a big university town. It's kind of like our Oxford or
yeah.
Princeton or so. And we managed to win a lot of awards. One of which was the best RPG product of the year, which is like the most prestigious one because it covers everything. So Windheim Companion won a gold for that, and then our our own RPG, My Father's Sword, won a gold award for best RPG. And Robert won for best illustrator, Christian won for best maps, and our dice won an award for best accessory, I think it's called in English. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there were,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, Trace of Darkness won for best campaign. we were baffled, and after a few awards, we were almost embarrassed going up because it was like, okay, us again. But
Where
super
was
excited, very happy.
where was that award held?
You want to do that, Robert?
Yeah, well, it's I don't know. It's a sort of a high school in Gothenburg. It's an old, very. Uh, I guess it's from like over 100 years old, brick stone building. So it's a quite a the aula. Would you say it? Aula,
Assembly hall, assembly
the
hall.
assembly hall, yeah. And
Yeah.
well, yeah. So it was a very big stage where you can perform music and things like that. So then you call us out, and we had to or have to rise 10 times to get up there. And yeah, I felt like I was a bit embarrassed at the last few times to go back there, but you don't want to stay on the stage either. So it's strange. Yeah.
That's right.
But
You're
it is during GothCon, which is the biggest RPG convention in. So they rent this amazing, like, really big high school, and it's the oldest and biggest RPG convention in Sweden. It's been going on since 77 ish, something like that.
wow. That was, I think, maybe it was, yeah, it would have been a little bit, maybe 78 was when I got into role playing. First I got chainmail, and
Hmm.
then advanced Dungeons and Dragons because I didn't want to deal with any of the boxes. I always
Hmm.
thought those were for kids. Who knew it would? Who knew it would come back?
Yeah.
And then I kind of bought every edition of D&D, uh, going up until fifth, and then discovered a much bigger world. I bought Merp back in the day when it first came out, and Pendragon when it first came out. Um, where I lived in Montreal, where I grew up, was in a rural community northwest of Montreal, and so I take the train, then I take two buses. It would take about 2.5 hours to get to the local game store, and I would pick up Harnmaster stuff and Harn stuff, because the illustrations and the drawings, I always thought that that was fantastic. But I still kind of plugged almost everything into D&D, and I guess it was just before the pandemic that I started to really switch over and buy stuff from Europe, and really open my eyes to what was going on in uh, I guess Sweden in large part because of Free League, and they really Fria Liga really made everybody stand up and pay attention to what was going on. Um, you've kind of in a way, a lot of different publishers have ridden that kind of wave of popularity, or at least name recognition.
Mm. Yeah, I think Free League has paved the way for many Swedish publishers who are looking to translating into English. And I think also actually Right Minds even before that with their Trudvang stuff
Mm,
also got quite popular in the States and all over Europe. But I mean, we've been the biggest RPG country per capita since the 80s. This Drakar och Demoner, which is a Swedish word for Dragonbane, has been around since 82, and from the second edition that came out in 84, it's been overperforming Dungeons and Dragons up until fifth edition, I would say.
yeah, I think now, I didn't re-listen to everything, but I tried to listen to some stuff on the podcast, and I believe that you were talking to Matthias about your experiences of gaming early on, and I think that somebody had said that Drakar och Demoner was kind of on almost every child's shelf along with other games. It was ubiquitous around Sweden. Is that true?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think more Robert is a few years older than me. I think I always say I was maybe 5 years too young to really catch that hype in the 80s. I got involved in the 90s. But people who are born like in the late 60s and early 70s were really the main target group for these games. And in those age groups, almost like every class had someone who had this game, Drakar och Demoner. And there was a group in more or less every class in Sweden, and it was huge. It was massive because
Yeah,
the
so
yeah
if you were a nerd back then, like in the early 80s, and then it was kind of mandatory to play some sort of role-playing game, and the most common one was Drakar Demoner.
Mm.
And yeah, yeah, it was. I would like to say it was all over Sweden like that.
That's
because
wonderful.
because it's two reasons for that. One is that the distribution that they managed to get Target Games that owned they were the ones producing the game. They got a distribution. They got their distribution through a guy called Jan Edman, who basically distributed the games to all um, kids stores in all over Sweden. So everywhere that parents would go to buy Monopoly or, decorations for a birthday party or whatever, there would be a Drakar Demoner box in there as well. And the kids just went wild for this because the second reason is we only had two channels. We had Monopoly for TV back then in the 80s. So there were only two channels, and there was, 1 hour of kids television a week. No, a day. One hour a day tops. Um, so it was quite like the kids didn't have much to do. So when they saw this really cool game where you could, slay dragons and stuff, people went crazy for it.
That's amazing. I'm 60. I was born in 65, and um, we even in Canada, we went through in the 80s a great I guess the press was against role-playing games because of their fear of summoning demons.
Yeah,
Who
yeah,
would have thought? Did that happen in Sweden as well?
yeah. But it came a bit later, I think. It came with a game called Cult, which was, the game was basically about summoning demons and there being another world behind the veil and stuff like that. So with that, the satanic panic really came. Yeah, exactly. I don't think there were much like in the 80s. I think in Sweden they were more afraid of the video violence.
Yes.
I think you had that across the pond as well.
Yes,
They
absolutely.
didn't like people doing karate. They didn't like video violence. Heavy metal got a huge part of the sledgehammer as well. So I think role playing games really got under the microscope in the 90s, in the early 90s, with the release of the first edition of Cult.
So out of
Well,
that now,
can I just
yes,
sorry,
Robert, please.
say yeah, because I was raised in a very Christian home, and my father would go bananas if he just saw the word, the spelling demon. So I have to hide my role playing games and just pretend that I did Mutant, which he thought was fine. So the I guess the experience was a bit different if you had a very orthodox background. So.
Well,
Of course, yeah.
I mean, it's funny in a way. It's almost sad in a way because uh, we won't get into the politics of the world at the moment, but the movement that's happening currently is certainly ripe for making similar attacks. In Canada, I'll tell you, growing up, I was involved in church, and I was involved in a more evangelical side of the Anglican Church or the Church of England. And I bought and got rid of 3 sets of AD&D cores. And they were super expensive. Like, to buy
Hmm.
each book was insane, and I threw 2 out and I gave 1 away. I guess I figured that their soul wasn't as important as my own,
Mhm.
but it was it was nuts. And
Oh, so
so
it wasn't
here,
because you needed to hide it. It was because you felt like, oh, I'm going to go to hell if I do this.
yeah, and that was
Oh,
the way
really?
that it came across.
Yeah.
Finally, I I came out of this stupor, and I guess I started to grow and say, no, this is ridiculous. And I'm a real life priest. So
Yeah.
and I still have a copy of Cult. But I'm a weird Anglican priest. So there you go. Um, so you you came out of the 90s, Andreas, with this passion. And I mean, what came first, your music or role playing?
I think music came first. I got into heavy metal in when I was maybe 12-ish, 11, 12-ish. And then we started a band called Ultimate Decay. Still my best band name ever. Like
Yeah.
I've yet to come up with a better band name ever. But yeah, we played heavy metal for a few years, and then I started, yeah, what would be high school, gymnasiet, we call it here, when you're like 16, 17. And yeah, that's when I got into Drakar och Demoner, because I went to a new school and I met new friends and they were into this, so I started playing with them basically.
And so did you start kind of right from the beginning thinking about um a world of your own and starting to create?
Yeah, because I was a huge Tolkien fan, so I'd been reading Tolkien for maybe 2 years before I started RPGs. So of course I wanted to draw my own map. I wanted to create my own world, and I did that. I still have that map right here that I created,
Wow.
30 years ago.
That's that's awesome. So Robert, you're an illustrator. I would imagine that you've been drawing most of your life.
Well, on a hobby level, I guess. I've been having some shorter, what do you say, work or employment as an illustrator during a few times in my life. Uh, but I mainly work as a nurse. So yeah, uh, and
But you
that's
did the
my bread and
magic
butter.
box back in 1990 for Drakar och Demoner, an official Drakar och Demoner product you did. You were like the main illustrator for that.
Yeah, that was great fun. I've been illustrating for periods in all my life, and it's I guess it started also with this Christian cult I was growing up in, and because I was bored sitting and listening to the word of God all day, so I was sort of
Oh,
uh,
you're going to hell
yeah
now.
yeah.
Yeah, I'll
So,
join you.
yeah,
I'll bring
so
some
I
ice
was
packs.
yeah, this escapism that took place in my brain as a kid, it led to that I was trying to illustrate some parts of it, and then when I saw other artists, I really went nuts, and when role playing, yeah, it fit me very well.
And so I guess Robert, for you and I, we kind of overcame uh that fear that was trying to be instilled upon us, that you know uh and regardless of whether it was imposed on us or whether or not it came from inside, there was still this drive to say this is a wonderful escape, a wonderful way to get to know other people and to imagine and play in a fantasy world. um uh, to me, that was one of the most exciting aspects of it.
Yeah, I can agree, but I guess put a lot of names and labels and been explaining to myself as I grew older. But back then, when I was 12 and started playing, it was just I don't know, it was like a need that I discovered.
Yeah, that's a really good way of describing it. I guess, Andreas, creating this world from 30 years ago, was a need, a drive within you, right?
Yeah, I've always had a creative spark. I always had a need to create. Like as soon as I started picking up instruments, I had a need to, create. And yeah, I really think that, yeah, throughout my life, like endless, like there's not been a time when I've not been creating, whether it's been theater or drama or music, RPGs, or creating a world where you hope that you one day would, write a literary epic trilogy, just like the professor.
Yes.
Like, doesn't really matter. I just need to create. I just
Mm,
need to create something. It's yeah. I can't describe it any better than it's a need that I have to do.
yeah. So um I came across I guess, Andreas, I came across you through the podcast. Now, I'm gonna change
Sweden
some
rolls.
uh, pardon me?
Sweden rolls. Yes.
Yeah, Sweden rolls.
Yes.
And
Yes.
so I was I guess I was searching around for um stuff about, I think it was Vasen or
Hmm.
Vasen.
Yeah.
And I uh I wanted to learn the game. I'm a better learner, not through reading, but through actually listening, watching, experiencing. And so, for some reason, I thought that listening to a podcast instead of watching something would be better. I think that somebody had recommended it. It may have come after you had won an Emmy for the podcast. Um,
Well, we didn't win an Emmy, just to be clear. We came in first place. N World has their own podcast where they do a
uh,
list every year where they list
the
the
top.
best podcasts. Yeah, top called podcasts. So we came first and second place in 2019, third place in 2020, and then we managed to snag the first place in 2021. So we joined, names like the Adventure Zone and the likes of those in the Hall of Fame. But we did not win an Emmy. We've not even been
Okay.
nominated for that actually. Yeah.
Okay, so I wanted to learn. Thank you for the clarification, but that's still very significant. And so I heard about you, and I started to listen to the podcasts. And next thing I knew, every night before I went to bed, I'd be listening to dun 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 dun, and it was, and then your laughter as you enter into just before playing, and
Yeah.
that feeling of joy of having a great time. So that's how I learned about Windheim, was as I was going on, and I was catching up from a number of years, of course. You By that time you had started to play, and you had a bunch of actors who were not necessarily experienced with role playing. There was Ingla, Annalie, uh, uh, Jacob, Matthias, um, Dominic, Angela. Uh,
Angela was in she was in the two first seasons of Forbidden Lands. Yeah.
yeah. So how did how did you get them interested in like, how did you find the experience of teaching them this thing that you loved so much?
Well, it's been a lot of fun. Sorry, I have some echo from somewhere. I don't know from where. Now it disappeared. Great, thanks. Yeah. So no, we've had a lot of fun over the years for sure. It's been a ton of fun. Has there been some frustration sometimes when it's taken them a while to, grasp, the 28th time you say, these are the dice we're rolling now, not those, scratching your beard and trying to be, like understanding and like, no, it's okay. We've only been doing this 5 years. It's okay. Just ask, no problem. No, but mainly it's been a lot of fun because, and I think because they're actors who do not play RPGs, they attack the story from a completely different, angle. And of course, Matthias has played a lot of RPGs before, but all the other ones are noobs and haven't played before. So actually, it was nice to get him into the podcast after the first, I don't know, year or so,
Yes.
to finally have at least one player who, you know, I could drop a hint and he would catch that because he's an experienced role player, so he would know that this is a hint. We're supposed to do this, while the other ones were just in their, you know, improvisation theater minds and were just like, la la la, I'm going this way.
Yeah. And it is a different experience, isn't it? By the time you got to Windheim, um, the I think you started with three. I think it was Amanda, Matthias, and Ingla.
Yep, correct.
And so they all at that point uh, had experience. I think that it may have been Amanda's first, wasn't it?
Um, Amanda had been joining us for a couple of one shots. Amanda is a
Okay.
very seasoned role player and a very
Yes.
seasoned podcaster. I think she is the only one who could rival me in terms of how many podcasts
Oh,
we've, you
wow.
know, been on in Sweden. There's a third one, Robert Jonsson, but I think both and me and Amanda have passed him a while back. But yeah, so she's super experienced, and of course, when we have a trio of Amanda and Matthias, who both have played a lot, and then Ingela, who by then had played quite, you know, extensively as well. Of course, by then we would have a quite experienced group of players.
Yeah. So before we get directly into Windheim, did how did you find that playthrough? Like have like over the years of the podcast, but also for Windheim itself, has Engla dipped into role playing in other avenues in other places? Have any of the others
I know
done
that
anything
Anneli
like that?
has. I know that Jacob has played a bit with his sons. Um, I think like they're all super busy. Like this
Yes.
summer has showed that we've struggled, you know, finding times to schedule. We've taken the first break ever, like up until
Mm,
June. We released an episode every Monday evening for, you know, 7.5 years. And that's a long time, you know, to do it like weekly, week in, week
yes.
out. And I think that's like, would they, if they'd had more time, they would definitely play more role playing games. Um, but I don't think Ingela has. I don't think Dominic has.
Mm.
No.
And they're
But
and they're they're acting, they're teaching, they're doing so much, and I
mm,
think Ingla travels the world pretty much doing a lot of stuff.
yeah, she does a lot of like voice coaching and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
she travels quite a lot with that as well. Yeah.
And so just getting back to Robert so that he's not falling asleep because it is quite late. Why not? Robert, uh, you're involved in nursing.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And
Well,
and so there's a lot of like my work, because I do pastoral work. There's a lot of active listening. There's a lot, it's not just simply taking bloods or mental health assessments and stuff like that. There's a lot of compassion, a lot of empathy for those who you're working with. Um, and I think that that shines through in role playing. Um, and I didn't know that what your occupation was before, but um, your illustrations are very evocative, and very much kind of focused on the emotion of people. Um, that must be kind of a nice way of being able uh, m- to have some catharsis from the stress of the day and the stress of just day in and day out work.
uh, well, well, I don't. I just say something randomly about what you just described. Um, Thank you. That was a very um, extraordinary road down to my illustrations, and I haven't really thought about it as them being expressing emotions a lot. That was fun to hear. I I do at times, of course, nursing can be stressful in Sweden. There's so yeah, and to just get down into my own world and struggle with the way I want to portray a goblin or troll or some dark lady of the forest is a very nice escape. But it's also there's I don't know you do sweat a lot in a mental way when you try to get a picture in a way that you want it or but when you get it right or when there's someone grabbing your pencil that can do it better sort of metaphorically and you get it right or get that feeling then it's yeah there's like a cozy little fire starting to in my chest and I can just enjoy it very very much and I guess that feeling is still very pleasant and so that's kind of drives me on.
That's great. I know that time is pressing on, so I've put up some illustrations. The first one I put up is Aurum, uh, who is a very important person in Traces of Darkness. He kind of starts the whole thing off, doesn't he, Andreas?
Yeah, the merchant. Yeah, with his little beret and his
Yeah,
glasses, and
I love the
yeah.
beret and the glasses,
Mm.
and that kind of side look, looking up.
Hmm.
It's just it's just great art.
Yeah.
And
I
then I
think
have
Robert told me once. Sorry if I can just interject.
yeah.
One, like when me and Robert we've been talking about illustrations a lot over the years, of course, these past few years. And one thing you said to me, Robert, very early was that you don't want to make portraits that are just someone standing. Like you always want there to be some kind of intention behind the gaze of the person you're illustrating or something. I don't remember what you said, like the wording of it, but you said something about I don't want to make it like a flat illustration of an NPC. If I make an NPC, I want there to be some life in the picture.
Yeah, I think I might have said so too because I don't want I want my style to be kind of I have a problem going in a very very fixed style. I want to have the artistic freedom to I mean do this one in ink, do this one digital, and do this one in oil color, and this one I might be do with just a brush, and this just with a pen. Uh, so and that gives then I just find something in it, and that's why it's somewhat. I don't know the English word for it. Spretig, Andreas. How do you say that in English?
Oh, what's the word for that? There's a big variety
Yeah,
that might
yeah,
seem a bit like chaotic variation is spretig.
yeah. And I was trying to sell the idea that I need to be able to have this variation because it will give me more inspiration and therefore more life to the character and the pictures.
Mm.
That's my memory of what you said. Or, yeah.
Mm. And I mean that's perfect for an RPG book, because if you would have an RPG book where all the illustrations are made by one artist who only works with one material or like in one way to make all the illustrations, while if Robert uses all of these different methods of getting the illustration, then we'll have much better variation. You call it spretig, chaotic variation. I just call it variation. And I think it's great that we have the variation that we have in the illustrations of the books.
Yeah, so Aurum, I put up some of my favorite illustrations, and Aurum is kind of soft in terms of its texture and the way that it comes across. It's in a more sepia type of tone. And then I have Garrick, and Garrick, I think for myself, Garrick is one of the best caricatures that's expressed. He has such a distinctive look. The neck and and his muscles tensed up and his gaze. It's wonderful, but it's also a bit harder in terms of the line work.
In terms of the line.
Yeah, in terms of the way that the lines, the way of the work, it's not as soft. It's
More
it's
like
so
sharper
different.
edges. Yeah.
Yeah, it's different from Aurum, and it's just again that chaotic dynamic of the way that you've portrayed certain characters.
Yeah.
And I think the last one that I have there, which is black and white, is I think that's
It's an Ohamur, right? Like the dwarven smiths, right?
Yeah.
The religious, the dwarven clerical smiths.
Yes.
With his round, like hammer-ish thingy. Like a mace, almost.
Yeah, very much. So, and then, of course, the color illustration that I put up is the mallards.
Pirate mallards!
Pirate mallards with their red spiky hair.
Yeah, ready for boarding.
I mean, you couldn't have Drakenoctomoner without having the mallards. How in the world did you think of putting these southern pirates in this type of distinctive look?
What?
Was that you, or was that Andreas?
Andreas been very fierce about their haircut and
the red mohawks. Sorry, I've been pestering Robert about those.
And I think I put a hat on one of those in that picture. I'm not really
Yes,
sure.
you did. Yes, a pirate hat.
Yeah, and the other one are sort of my interpretation of a wild mohawk, but it's somewhat the palm tree looking.
Yes, yeah.
So and I see them also maybe like they are. I mean, the wild pirates. They might be high on rum or whatever they are using to get their fierceness up for a battle. So they should look a bit rumbled. So
yeah, I love the way that they're portrayed, because it's not simply a mohawk. The one that's fighting in the bow, it's not just, it's not just a very kind of almost Roman helmet looking mohawk. It's all over the place. It's very wild, and it also comes out a little bit yellow orange, turning into this plume of red. And I think that that's awesome. Like, it for myself, I didn't play Dragonbane. It sat on my shelf for about a year, maybe a little longer, and I was even thinking, am I ever going to play this? Mallards, ducks, can I play this? Like, can I even DM it? And and it wasn't until I watched some playthroughs and stuff that I started to understand the uniqueness of its Swedish kind of background. And being a Canadian, Sweden and Canada are very similar in many, many ways. We have a lot of boreal forests and taiga and Arctic, and we we have mallards and ducks and geese. And so I really started falling in love with it. But until I saw your work and what Andreas had done in the way that he described the kin, I felt much more excited about the possibilities of playing them or of having them with encounters.
Mm.
It's
I
very
mean,
It's very
much
nice to hear.
I will say that not everyone in Sweden loves the mallards. Some people stay well clear of Drakar simply because of the mallards. And another huge chunk of people just say, yeah, I play Drakar, but mallards, ducks, ankor, they're prohibited on my table. Like I do not allow them. They are not in my world. So there's like everyone has said it's like coriander. People either love it or hate it. Like there's very few who are like, I mean, guess ducks are okay. Like in Sweden, people either love or hate these creatures.
well, it's
You can go through some sort of me when I was a kid. I was the sort of stimmung or the was a bit more important to have, and these days I gladly laugh my way through a role playing session. But so today I think it's a very colorful addition to the game with the Mallards. But if you ask me, like when I was 15, I was probably one of those who said, no, I don't have them in my world.
yeah. If you asked me when I was like 58, I probably have said the same thing. Uh, uh, I, but I guess don't be a mallardist. Our world is so big. There can be many different kin. Thank you very much. It's in a lot of ways. The kids have taught me. The kids that I do the role playing games with, they've taught me this great openness um, to the world and to possibilities of people who are different, games that are different. You know, looking at all the games that I've bought in the past, say 5 or 6 years, I I I have been more determined to be diverse and to be focused on stuff that is compelling. It doesn't mean that every last element of something is going to uh, define the game, you know. So if I don't like a certain aspect of it, well, I don't have to have it in my game. If I like something, I can. It's not. Nothing is essential when you're using your imagination in these games. And so I've put up some pictures of the kids. Um, and I've over the past 4 years or 5 years, I've been taking
Oh, that's
pictures,
nice.
and the first picture is of Vasen. What is it?
Basen.
Vesen. So Vesen, we were supported by Free League a number of years ago, and they gave us a number of copies, a number of dice to support the after school program. And then the other two pictures are in my hall, in my parish hall, and these five grew out of that initial picture, and so I have because I thought that this might be nice for both of you or for Andreas to see, but this is them getting ready for a Windheim adventure. Uh, and if you look in the middle of the table moving along, you will see these, which are caravans that I printed out, and I still have them um, for Orum's journey.
So you placed all the characters have been placed on the carts of the caravan. That's
Exactly.
amazing. That's
And
amazing.
the kids really get into having their images. So I have this young man. Um, he's he's quite tall, and you know, he's quite outgoing. Uh, he's a guy's guy, and he chose these illustrations. So he plays Quackers, and
Mm.
that is his character. And then on the flip side, everybody chose to have a cartoon version of their of who they wanted to be. And I've been using your illustrations and some other other things that we will not mention to kind of evoke more of the game for them. So I want to get into Windheim itself, and I think one of the things that I really love about about the world that you've created over 30 years is the game is a journey. There's a lot of politics. And if you're not, like, as a GM, if you're not aware of the tensions, you're missing a large part of the beauty of the world. The Merle, their relationship to the Bastionites, um, uh, even the religious differences, uh, the there's a compromise. There's a compromisation that is happening in the world, and there's feelings of guilt, national guilt about the situation that's going on. There's just so much. It's absolutely wonderful. But the journey in that first Traces of Darkness campaign for the first of the Horn of the Dawn, and that was absolutely spectacular. I can well understand why you were running up and down that stage 10 times.
Thanks so much. I just have to clarify the Windheim I've only worked on for 20 years. The other word that's right beside me here that I've been working on since I was 17 is another one.
Oh,
It's another one. So
ho-
Windheim
ho-
has only got 20 years on it.
well, only 20. My goodness. Such
Yeah.
a young thing. Um,
Yeah.
but the other one, who knows what will happen with that? Maybe it will make an appearance.
Who knows?
There's a spark. There's a
No.
sparkle in an eye. Um,
The chat encouraged us to start talking about the Kickstarter. I don't want to.
no, we're going to go
I
to the
definitely
kicks.
did not want you to. I did not want to interrupt you when you were talking about the kids and their fascination and
Yeah, no, that's great. Let's get
of course.
so
But
let's tell us. So this world is great. These two books are absolutely beautiful. They're amazing. Tell us about the Kickstarter and what's the Fallen? What's this Fallen aspect?
well, spoiler alert. There's an ending to part one that signals that there's great danger ahead. We can say that much without spoiling too much, I think, and
Mm-hmm.
that danger goes from bad to worse, basically. And again, the characters need to make difficult choices. That's what I like when you play RPGs, that you present the characters with a choice to affect what will happen. But if that choice is always very what do you call it, evident, self-evident, very 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 clear, that's not fun. It's much more fun if you have a dilemma, or if you have, yeah, you need to make a choice between two things that both things aren't really great, but yeah. So I like
And
And
I
while you
like.
stand there and pondering, the word starts falling.
Mhm.
Robert, did you do the illustration, the map?
No, the map for Windheim is Christian.
It's Christian.
He does all the maps for Windheim and for our other games. Yeah.
So with Fallen, um, it looks as if you're focusing on different areas. There's going to be a drawing of Crown's Head, I think.
Yeah, we have a map of the main Mule village, like basically the only Mule village, because they're nomadic. So this is the only village that is always there. So it's kind of their capital, if you will. So
Hmm.
that's going to be a big one. That's going to be a B2 sized map.
Oh, wow.
And then we didn't really, for the first Kickstarter, do any maps for the. There are 3 baronies except apart from the Foamsvale where the governor sits.
Hmm.
So there are three bastionite baronies: Stonesword, Crownset, and Silverspur. And we did a lot of maps in Silverspur, but we only did one map in Crownset and none in Stonesword. So Christian's gonna do the maps for the like barony seat towns, basically where the Baroness of Crownset, and slips my mind if Stonesword has a baron or baroness, but whatever. Yeah, so those main towns of those other baronies will get their own maps as well. And we promised in part one that, because part one is rather railroaded,
Hmm.
and some people might find that, appalling even, or at least discouraging. But I know that a lot of GMs like to know what's like supposed to happen, and then we feel that the characters still have a lot of agency in Traces of Darkness. The part one of
Yes. Oh, well,
Order of Dawn.
yes.
It's not like we decide exactly what's going to happen. We lay up a bunch of förutsättningar. Would you say that? How do you say that, Robert? Prerequisites, or
Yeah.
There's certain things. Yeah, there's
like we
certain
set the
things that
scene.
move
We
the
set the
story
scene.
along.
Yeah, exactly. We set the scene, and we have some things that moves the story along, so that GMs can feel comfortable that they won't have to strong arm their players into going, this way or that. But we have promised to make part two a bit more sandboxy. I mean, we still want to tell a story, so there's still going to be some stuff that are happening, or actually at least probable that they're going to happen. But we've written the book in much more of a sandbox way. We basically have a bunch of locations that it's very probable that the PCs are going to go to, and and these will all have their own chapters, and each chapter will be divided not chronologically like in part one, but thematically.
Hmm.
Like there's an introduction, but after the introduction is basically these are the NPCs that are in this place, these are the places that they are likely to go to. We have some um, probable likely scenes that are likely to happen, but they won't happen for everyone, and all of them won't happen to anyone. But we still feel like it's good to give the GM some advice on, like, these are some things that'll probably happen for most groups. So let's just give some info on how NPCs in those scenes will probably act, or what agenda they will have. But we also have a bunch of like detours. Like if you want to do a detour doing this or that or this or that. So it's going to be a lot more. Um, it's going to be somewhat more sandboxy.
And I guess each area is getting fleshed out a little bit more as you progress with your
Yeah.
publications. I
Yeah.
would, I would suggest for anybody um, who's buying the latest stuff to absolutely get the companion, because the companion really sets the scene. It gives you background information that's fairly essential. And Traces of Darkness, of course, is that kind of setup. And this is almost like okay, you've been set up. This is part two. Now run with it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And I think,
Go on.
yeah, Robert, sorry.
No, I didn't say something.
Oh, okay.
I was thinking highly.
Yeah. No, but we took a
Loudly.
decision early on because we realized we could not afford from the first, like, even though the first Kickstarter went very well, we didn't have time or did not afford to have this, 600-page companion to flesh out the world as much as we'd like, because we needed it to be graspable. We needed it to be, yeah, it
Well,
can't be too heavy because some people
no.
won't read it.
Yeah,
So we felt
exactly.
that it's better to give a very broad and not very in-depth description of everything that's on Windheim. And yes, that's how you pronounce it, Windheim.
Windheim.
But I'm no purist. Anyone can pronounce Windheim whichever way they want. It's like I don't have I'm no purist there. But yeah, it describes basically everything that's in Windheim. And then we decided quite early on that, okay, but let's go a bit more in depth when the campaign takes us somewhere in Windheim. So in Trace of Darkness, we get a bit more on Plainsville, on Vale's End, on North Spur, and in part two we'll get a bit more about other areas. So it's yeah, it's a possibility for us to dig a bit deeper and describe the areas a bit more in depth, because it will be much more relevant then, because that's where people will come. The group will come there and the GM will need to know what's there.
So it looks like the Merle will have a bit more focus on them.
The Mule, yeah.
Yeah.
Might. It might.
Right. We'll see. We'll see.
I mean,
So
there's a map coming because we really wanted that village to have a map. I wouldn't say that Crown's Head, Stone Sword, and Mylir, which is what we call the village, are necessarily places that you need to go in part two. I would say that it's more like those are the big places that should have a map but haven't gotten a map yet.
okay.
So I would say it's more because of that we have those maps there, more than that the story takes us there. It could take us there because it's more sandboxing, it's much more free for the players to decide what to do. But yeah.
Okay. As somebody who's purchased this, and I mean the quality, you speak in the Kickstarter about the quality of the books, and I believe that it's exactly the same size as these. So they're going to be the 289 by 218 millimeter format, which is larger than the Dragonbane books, but only slightly. Woven textured covers. So it's essentially going to be the same quality as what we've received in the past, correct? And
Yeah,
from
we're going
the
with the same paper quality and the same cover quality. We are discussing the possibility. We're talking a bit much here, perhaps the wine is talking, but we are discussing the possibility of having what is it called again? To have this text
yes.
shiny, a bit shiny.
Okay.
Slips my mind what it's called. It's called something. We're talking about having a stretch goal to have
Okay.
the title text a bit. When you hold it to the light, it shines and sparkles a bit.
I don't think it's
Um,
translucent. There's another
No.
word for it, but it escapes me at the moment. Yes.
Yeah, me
Yeah.
as well. But I think I described it, so you'll
Yeah.
understand
No,
what it is. But
I
yeah,
think
but that we
others will
would
mention
consider
it in
that
the
an upgrade.
comments. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I have the stack of maps from the first first Kickstarter. These are amazing. The quality of the paper, but also the quality of the cartography, what Christian has done, and what's been done is beautiful. But it's top quality paper. I think the quality speaks for itself, because there are a lot of people who are buying the product not only to play, but also because of the beauty of it. The dice, the dice are just awesome. The blue dice. So I'm really, I've actually marked down for 2 sets of the dice, and I heard,
Oh, really?
yeah, I heard from Phil that, yeah, just insane.
I think it doesn't really do it justice. You need to hold it up to the light. There needs to be a light coming through because they are
Yeah,
slightly
Transparent.
transparent,
there you
and
go.
it's almost like we asked Lindorm to, can you try and capture wind and water inside dice? And I feel that they did a great job of that. It's really hard to show on camera.
Yeah, it
But if
is.
someone holds
Yeah,
it up, if you hold it up to sunlight, it's just beautiful because you can see the waves of
yeah.
Windheim, like, inside the dice. It's beautiful. And then we have we're gonna produce a second set of die, a dwarven runic die set as well for this one. So
Nice. And that's the one that's going to be orangey with red and maybe a bit of smoke in it.
Exactly. Like just like we captured, wind and water inside the blue dice, we want it to be smoke. We want it to be a glowing like piece of metal from a dwarven forge, when the metal is almost like whitish yellow. So we want it to be a very bright orange, almost like a yellowish orange, but still a bit fiery, and then smoke inside. That's what we're gonna try and go for.
So there's lots of wonderful add-ons. You also have bypassed the 15,000 kroner mark, or 1,500,000?
150,000 kroner
150,000
will
kroner.
be, I think. Yeah.
And you've got Tony Winslow Brill, Luke Gygax, obviously a well-known name, Costa, um,
Of Free League,
who
yeah.
did Coriolis,
Mhm.
if I'm correct, and Tiffany Rose Nickel, who are going to be doing Adventure Seeds.
Yeah, and we have even more. We have 3 or 4 illustrators that will also do an adventure seed each, and then they're going to do a small illustration for their own adventure seed. So we've
Um,
got Ola Larsson, who is the main illustrator for Call of Cthulhu Sverige, Sweden. And we have Lindsay Archer, who've done a ton of stuff in the US for decades and decades. She's super talented. And the third one is uh, Tanya something. Her game recently won an Emmy. She's an Emmy award-winning, author and illustrator, at least illustrator. So she just won an Emmy just a month ago. So we have these 3 people coming in as well, and we have yet another Adventure Seed guest writing stretch goal coming up in 2 or 3 stretch goals or something like that. I think if we reach that far.
That's great. I I see that there are 5 new monsters. Robert, have you started working on the Lindworm and the Hag and the Hydra and the Elementar?
Well, at least in my mind. So, and there is a sketch in my living room, which could be the elemental.
Ah,
Yeah.
wonderful. That's great. It's nice, Andreas, to hear that your artist is on top of things.
Yep, always nice, always nice. And I think you did do a lindworm as well. I think we
Yeah,
might have
we actually
shared
have
that with
one.
the lindworm. We shared
Yes.
that one.
Yeah.
And also the Hydra is an amazing illustration that was actually in the trailer for the original Kickstarter, but then we couldn't really fit it into to any of the first books. So we're going back and using that one to make a Windheim Hydra, because we can't just make a Hydra. That would violate the third party
Yeah.
license.
Yeah.
So this is a Windheim Hydra. Very different from a
Very
regular
It's a
distinct.
Hydra.
Hydra.
They're gonna have red mohawks.
Yeah. You're gonna have
Um,
to add red mohawks to the Hydra, Robert.
And it farts very loudly.
and
That's how it's moving around. It's just farting.
Yeah.
so the one of the things that I see here, and I'm really excited about this, is Anders Blixt. Is that the way
Yes.
you
Yeah.
pronounce it? He's going to be doing kind of larger battles. Is this correct?
He did a supplement called Gigant
Yeah.
back in the 80s, which covered, like large scale stuff. Like how do you run a castle? What expenses are there? Um, and he also added rules for like pitched battles, like major combats, armies fighting
Sieges
armies. Yes, rules for sieges and everything like that. So we felt that this current iteration, of course, for Free League, the adventures that they've come up with thus far, they're great, but there's no really factions who have great armies. While in Windheim, there are factions who have armies. So for Windheim, it would make sense to actually add some rules to um, allow the characters, the player characters, to be involved in some kind of major battle where they can affect things, and but also where a GM can, because otherwise, how do you decide the outcome of a pitched battle? Like, do you just roll a d20 and see who rolls best, and that army wins? It sounds a bit overly simplified. So, I actually thought that these rules were, people really liked them. But it seems like people are, yeah, much like the mallards. Some people like them and some people really don't.
Hmm.
So we are reworking them under Anders' supervision. He's not making them for us. He doesn't have the time. He's busy with other stuff. But
Ah.
we're making them with his permission, and we
Ah.
are remaking them under his supervision. So he will look at them and give us pointers and stuff like that because he knows a lot about military history.
Um, that's awesome. I just want you to know that both Mohammed, uh, who played in uh, my online Windheim kind of catch up to get to the end
Oh yeah, yeah.
part.
Mhm.
He played Amiru or something like that. He'll spell it in the chat, I'm sure. I think he was a cat person, and Frank, who's Raldanash, he has his own channel. For anybody watching, please go support Frank. He does some wonderful work. He was Nashgar, and I believe that he was playing
A
a
mule shaman.
I think he was a shaman, yes.
Yeah, he
So,
wrote in the chat earlier that he was
uh,
playing a mule shaman. Yeah.
I'm glad someone's paying attention to chat. Uh, so, they enjoyed it. Of course, the railroading is something that some people like, some people don't. There are a lot of characters to deal with. I'm the type of player or GM who loves to have a cascade of characters in the background to be able to play off of and really interact with, and have the characters kind of uh, get the detective story. Are there going to be those various elements as well? Like if somebody wants to do a mystery in Fallen, is that going to be available? Is there like a murder mystery or something along those sorts? Is there something that's just, obviously there will be hack and slash, but the various kind of political elements that I mentioned before, are those all kind of represented? The
I
different
mean, we're gonna
ways of
try and,
playing?
and have part two be as diverse as
Mm.
part one, where we felt that we had the traveling caravan, murder mystery, and some dungeon crawling and some epic stuff and a little this and a little that. We're gonna try and do that in part two as well. One thing I can say definitely is that the political aspect will definitely have play a much bigger part in part two. So if the tension, Mule Bastionite, the Thimsur dwarves, all of that stuff, if that has been a part of your story for part one, you will thoroughly enjoy part two as that will deepen immensely. If that's something you've skipped for part one, you can still skip it for part two, but you will enjoy part two much more if you dive into the politics a bit more. And I'm not saying that you need to start a political party, but it's yeah, you need to. There are alliances and there are betrayals and stuff like that it's fun to navigate, I think.
Awesome. And finally, the Windheim Adventures is a different sort of book. It's six. You've got, I think, four that you've previously published as PDFs. And so they're in there, and you've got a few others that are unique, that are going to be in this bound book.
And they're going to be written by Christian and Robert. So Robert, why don't you tell us a bit about
Yeah.
the two new adventures?
Yeah.
All these six are one shots that are completely standalone. They don't, but like they're not fitting together in any way. So they're completely standalone.
Yeah, but I think me and Christian are writing on two, and we are trying to press the best out of our imagination, and we are also thinking about thematically. What have the players been doing? What kind of scenes are they moving around? What is the background, like the environment? And so I think that is how we set the scene for where the players are going to be in what kind of environment, and that's where we move them to new places. Yeah, well, and of course they're going to have some spice it up with a little bit of horror, a little bit of humor, yeah, like that.
It's the mirth and mayhem.
Yep.
Always.
Always, yeah.
Yeah.
And it is a deadly system. I mean, it seems at first glance that, oh, they're mallards. Oh, it's, we're just having fun here. But it's a pretty rigorous system in terms of you've only got a certain amount of hit points, and you may have bitten off more than you can chew.
Yeah, it's a system where you have to know when to, fight or flight. But I will say one comment that some people are starting to make now online is that, characters go down quite often, but they don't really die that
No,
often.
no.
Like it's really easy to go down to 0 hit points, but for your character to die, that
Rare.
takes some. Yeah, that's actually much more rare. And I think that's fun because once you go down to 0 hit points, that's when oh, it's for real. I'm starting to making death rolls now. So I think it's a good, amazing system just because of that. Because you go down to 0 hit points so easily, you always have a nerve. Like every single combat has a bit of a nerve.
Mm,
Uh, but you don't have to roll up a new character every week because you keep on dying, because that actually rarely happens.
yeah, yeah. And it's always nice to see the person kind of get up and almost invariably roll very well and end up having a killing blow or doing something very significant in the game.
Yeah. And I mean, the thing you said earlier about humor, we actually had a review of our books where the guy reviewing the books took down the grade a bit. He because he couldn't really understand if it was supposed to be serious or humorous.
Yeah, my
We want
illustration
both.
for thing.
We
Yeah.
want both. We
Yeah,
want both. Well, like, of course, we wanna swap between horror, epic adventure, and just mirth and mayhem, like silliness.
yeah.
For me, it's always been an integral part. Like, unless you play like Cult Divinity Lost or something like that, where you really want to go down and be really, horror centered. But like in all fantasy games, even when I play Tolkien games, I always want to have, a bit of silliness involved as well.
Yeah, I don't I haven't never been involved with a group that hasn't, even in the darkest of games, laughed or done something that was intentionally humorous to
Mm.
break the tension. And
Hmm.
uh, you almost need that in a role-playing game because it can get very intense at times around the table or around the Zoom or whatever you're using. Um, I love what you've done and what you both and Christian have created, because it is vast. It's got so many different elements, and they're not so integral that you're going to miss something or break the game if you say, okay, we're playing a very, very serious game, or we're playing just for shits and giggles. It Again, you make the game what you want it to be, but the bones of Windheim are very, very strong. Now, I think that we're probably running out of time. Robert, is there anything that you'd like to kind of highlight or speak to?
Oh, in terms of illustrations, which is my
Yeah,
or
or your
mm,
anything, not geopolitical, but you know,
nothing,
I'm open.
no. Well, I would like you to put the pressure on Andreas to actually go out in the archipelago with me and Christian in a few weeks and do some serious writing and also do some game testing, which he is for some reason trying to avoid, and
Yeah,
well,
I
it's just going
know.
to make the game better, and yeah. So
I think I
if
I
you
think I
could,
was supposed to do some game testing at some point a year ago. I have a conversation with him.
uh,
Yeah,
but no,
I mean, I'd love to go, but I have my kids, and 2 weeks after that weekend, I'm gonna go to Germany for the entire weekend, even though my kids are at my place. So yeah, I'd love to go, but we'll have to find another date when I can come.
Well, boys, don't fight online. Daddy agrees with Robert, but Daddy also agrees with Andreas. So
oh Jesus, no.
I have been there. I have 4 children myself. I know. I know. Um, and Andreas, what would you like to convey to the person that maybe is on the fence and looking and thinking, oh, I've only got so much cash and and with all these tariffs and everything, oh my gosh, uh, it,
Mm.
uh, you know, we certainly don't want anybody to go hungry or not pay rent or whatever or their internet bill. But what would you say makes Windheim for the Dragonbane lover, um, or Drakarokdemoner lover? What is compelling? What would be the reason why you would say this is a great world for you to explore in?
Well, I think you expressed that very eloquently previously in the interview, that it is a rich world, a world that is richer than any other world that is available for Dragonbane in English, at least at the moment. With cosmology, theology, and geography, history, all that.
Mm,
Um, in only 136 pages in the Windham Companion. And Trace of Darkness is, I think, a very diverse campaign. I think you can do a lot of things with it. It's not just the same thing all over and over. It's not go to that place, find that item, go to that place, find that item.
yeah.
It's very much, different things are happening, and the player characters need to make sometimes some tough choices, which is just fun. And Robert has made amazing illustrations. So I know people have bought the books just to look at the images because they don't have time to play, but they are so into the illustrations that he's made for these books. And yeah, if you look at the product value, as you said, it's over 100 pages. It's hardcover. It's cloth
Mm,
woven cloth covers, and the paper is of a good production quality.
it's
And
the
still, it only
best.
costs about $30 per book
Yeah, exactly.
on this Kickstarter, which, like, if you compare to other Kickstarters, look at what you get for $30 or
Mm,
$28. You get a 40 page soft cover,
yeah,
and here you get 130 pages hardcover with 4 color and illustrations, and this production value that we've been talking about. So I think I think that's one of the reasons it won a lot of awards, because people look at it and feel like when we released the books, when we sent it to the backers, they had the exact same reaction that I hope that they would get, like the book in their hands and be like,
I,
"What's this? This is This is
I
not what I expected.
no, that
This is
exactly, and that
like, what
that
is
was
this?
absolutely my reaction. I
And
was
that's
bowled
really what
over
we wanted to go for.
when it arrived, and I didn't kickstart it because I didn't know about the Kickstarter. I was a late backer, waiting for months before the kind of late
Late pages
backer.
came live. Yeah, yeah, we were
Yeah,
super late for that. We couldn't
and
get a bank account. That's why.
and my boss froze my account. Um, I have to talk to her about that. But when I saw what I received, I was absolutely amazed. And I'm not just saying that, I'm not exaggerating. I love I say reluctant artsy. Well, part of that is because I do art. I love doing art, but I have a fear of failure. So I don't like putting things on the page because I may not like it. Everybody else says it's nice, but I'm reluctant to produce art. So, but I love aesthetics and I love beauty in art. And Sherry and I, my wife and I, collect a lot of pieces of original art, oil paintings and various medias. And my daughter actually is finishing off her school year in uh, uh, a Bachelor of Applied Arts. So she's media and also 3D design. And so I mean it when I say this Kickstarter, this product is absolutely worth it. And I have not received any free stuff. Just to make sure, I've never asked Andreas for anything for the group because actually I don't need anything for the group because it's all it's all here in the books. I mean, you don't need 4 or 5 copies of the books. The rules, yes. And Free League has been very kind in giving some Dragonbane books to us for this year, and some Coriolis the Great Dark books for the coming year. But truly, the product and the printer that you have is and obviously the art. It's just amazing. It's wonderful, and that's why I'm really privileged to have been asked if I'd be open to interviewing you both, because this is something that I really passionately believe in for you both, and I hope that it continues for years. I hear that you have a secret project. I won't mention what that secret project is. Go watch on the Dark Orb and Phil's channel because he spoke about something there. Do you have a tidbit of something for us?
I think he was talking about my personal project for a company called Fat Shark who
Yes.
make video games.
Yeah.
I cannot say anything about that
No.
just yet, I'm
No.
afraid. No, it's still I'm under NDAs and stuff like
Yeah.
that. Paying a
You're not
vest
under
for
an
that.
NDA for your
Right.
own stuff. So, anything about Windheim that you can kind of give a little bit of a spoiler, as it were?
Well, we have promised that we should give one piece of, exclusive information for every interview that we do for this. I just need to do a few things first before we do that because otherwise I'm going to forget them. First of all, you mentioned tariffs. Actually, since we don't have a boxed set, books worth under $200 are actually exempt from tariffs to the US. So we can probably send to the US without any problems. Tariff free, probably. I'm not making promises, but from what I understand, or from what we understand, it we should be able to send to the US without issues. So there's that, and I will say also that it's yeah, if you haven't got any of the previous Windheim books, you can start with the old books and go from there. The Windheim Companion alone has, I think, like 20 adventure seeds that you yourself can just flesh out into adventures. I I game mastered one of them with Phil the other day, as you mentioned, the Dark Orb.
Yeah.
So yeah, But yes, should we release something super secret, Robert? What should we? We did release something the other day on another podcast, but that one hasn't been released yet. We can't really talk about that. It's going to be released tomorrow or the day after tomorrow, and I think that's only in Swedish. So that's in a project that will only be interesting for Swedish talking audience. But we have a list. Let me check the list.
Let's check the. I could just while you do that, I
Yeah.
could say something. Since Christian is not here, I'd like to speak on something about him. Oh shit! I guess that was my AirPods. Do you still hear me?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. You're
Actually,
fine.
a bit better.
Great. Yeah. Yeah. Since he is working as an, not everybody listening to this might know it. He's actually working as an architect and has been so for many years. And in that line of work, I mean, he has some sort of manager position, and he's not getting around to do the craft
Day-to-day
of that
work.
so
Yeah, the
much.
craft. Yeah.
So for him to be able to draw dwarven mines and cities and fantasy maps is of course what do you say, a shiny allure or something. It's giving him a satisfaction and a joyfulness that he's trained in, but cannot craft in his day work. So,
And he
and
also
that is
mentioned,
that professionalism is really showing. Is fantastic.
yeah. Those ones we talked about some kind of building or town or something, and I said, "Well, can't we do this?" And he says, "No, you can't do that because the building wouldn't, support itself." So, how about this? This is still cool, but also, accurate. And I was like, yeah, that's perfect. That's perfect. I can't remember the example, but yeah, those kind of discussions. And I think he also mentioned the other day that like we talked early in this interview about the need of creation. He has that spark as well, and I feel like it's nice that he can get that out of his system, through making maps. Well, and I think also we also need to mention that he is doing all of the graphic design and all of that. Of course, art direction is both of you, I guess. I'm beginning to learn what art direction and graphic design is, but I think you guys are doing the art direction together, and he does the graphic design by himself, and then
Yeah.
he does the layout as well. So he does a
Yeah.
lot of
Sometimes I
work.
have some my ideas, but yeah.
Mm. Yeah, but like the graphic design is mostly Christian. Sometimes working with stuff that you give him, Robert, like the circular chapter frames, and also the
Oh,
boards,
yes.
like the boards that one exactly, and also at the top and bottom of every book, these boards that Robert
Yeah.
made that are so full of detail. If you if you look at
You've
them
really got to
closely,
look.
yeah. It's not just another shade of uh, of the same color. It's an illustration. It's a proper illustration. There's stuff there. Okay, so I looked at the list, and I think maybe the one that would be fitting for this. You mentioned having a background in Dungeons and Dragons. It's still like far in the future, but we can say that like after we finish part 3, we are looking at releasing Windheim for Dungeons and Dragons. Now, whether we do 5th edition or this new version or something that is compatible with both, that we'll see. But we will make a shot. We will do a Kickstarter to try and see what happens if we do Windheim for Dungeons and Dragons, because I actually, when I wrote Horn of the Dawn, the first group I played with, we used Dungeons and Dragons to play it. And also my third play test that I did, I also used Dungeons and Dragons because I was playing with my students, and my students wanted to play Dungeons and Dragons. So it's a lot of the story and a lot of Windheim lore has actually been fleshed out during gameplay, having played Dungeons and Dragons.
Wow.
I
That's
mean, since the story is there, the illustrations are there, all it needs is a conversion, more or less. So it's it's going to be a lot of work, of course, but we feel like it would be stupid not to try it at least.
it.
But we're talking well over a year in the future.
And after part 3.
After part 3, yeah.
So there's already you already have ideas about the next part.
Oh yeah, Horn of the Dawn is a trilogy for sure.
Yes.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, thank you both very much. Just to kind of bring Christian into it, this illustration here, see if I can get it. So when I got Coriolis the Great Dark, and I got the beta, and I kept on thinking to myself, where have I seen something like this before? And it was actually Christian's work, this way of looking in from kind of the cutaway going down, and reminiscent of going down into the mines like you do in that game. So I think that having an architect, having an artist, having that graphic design connection, as well as everything else, I'll say one last time, if you are thinking about getting the PDF, yes, absolutely support them if you don't have the money. But if you can afford it, or you can buy the books and get that map pack, it is really an amazing product and very much worth every penny, compared to all the other books. And as you can see, I have a fair number, and all over the place. It's an amazing product. Thank you so much, both of you, for the time that you've spent. Robert, especially for you, I know that I know that you might have had some time constraints, and thank you so much for being with us. Andreas, thank you so much. I hope that you do get an opportunity of getting Sweden rolls back to rolling.
Oh, of course I will. Of course. We did a little Windheim one shot, and after that
Yeah.
we will try actually to get Dominic back, because he's moved back to Sweden now.
Oh,
So we'll
wonderful.
actually try and get a season 5. I think we've done 4 seasons of Forbidden Lands. I think 4 or 5. But
Yeah.
we will try and get a new season of Forbidden Lands out. And then after that, we will probably play Windheim Falling, probably, or we
Yeah.
might go into Baldur's Gate 2, and go back to that again. We'll see.
I'm gonna
That's
need to say goodbye.
yes,
And thank you very much, Douglas. It's been a pleasure.
Robert, it's a pleasure. Yeah.
Have a nice evening.
Yes, you as well.
Best of luck.
Yes, thank you.
See you soon, Robert.
See you.
Bye, Robert. And because I make things not so fancy, it's quite easy to make that transition. I hope that Annalie it returns at some point, because I find her absolutely hilarious. I would
she's
love.
back. She's back.
She's back. That's great. Amanda is awesome. And I just hope that people supporting Windheim also go back and listen to all these episodes. I had actually listened to season 16, but I had forgot because I thought, oh, it's been a year, but it's been a long time since you've been able to get everybody together. And so listening to the podcast is actually worthwhile on so many different levels. Learning, if you're a GM, learning how to play with people who are still learning the game, or learning how to role play, it's an amazing way of integrating that, because people do sometimes come into the hobby thinking that they're going to be voice actors of a sort and stuff, and so they come in with a wonderful gift of interpretive kind of improvisation type of approach, but they also have to learn that there are mechanics and that there are dice to roll and that there are rules to follow. It's not just playing in a sandbox.
Yeah. The GM is gonna
So
blink a dink you once in a while.
Winky dink. And of course, the blur, the famous blur. I think that is such a brilliant thing.
Yeah,
What's
because I never
blur?
got this, that, the critical role thing where the GM whispers something in the player's
Yeah,
ear. For me, that's just that's the opposite of, like,
yeah,
you you want the audience to hear it, you just don't want the other players to hear it.
that's right.
So the other players, like if something's secret, have the other players blur or leave the room if it's going to take a while, and then let the listeners have the info. And sometimes I even it's not even something that I'm supposed to whisper to a character. I as a GM just want to give the audience, I want them to be in the know of
And it
something.
yeah, it draws you in. It's not even breaking the fourth wall. It's actually you're you feel part of the process, and there's an excitement when you hear how they've approached the situation that you're aware of. So you're
Mm.
anticipating. It's not a spoiler. It's you're anticipating
Hmm.
and seeing it unravel or or blow up in their faces is just
Hmm.
it's just great. Another reason why I love the podcast so much is
Thank
that
you.
aspect.
Thank
Um,
you.
Andreas, thank you so much. It's such a pleasure to finally get to meet you, talk with you, albeit from
Likewise.
Atlantic Canada all the way to Sweden. But it is wonderful. Thank you.
What a world we live in.
What a world we what a world we live in indeed.
Yeah.
Thank you for your time. Thank you everybody who's been
Thank you for
watching.
having us.
And please support the podcasts that are also supporting Windheim. Support
Thank
small
you.
publishers, support um, people who are in different countries. Not just and God knows I played fifth edition and really appreciate the system and have in the past. And politics aside, a game is a game, and you know, politics have nothing to do with people uh, for the most part. You can't judge a country or an individual based on what their politics are currently. But it's wonderful. It's wonderful to have so many people around the world offer up such great new innovations that are different from a collective of an assumed kind of OSR or fifth edition or fourth edition or whatever perspective, or a Paizo perspective, to branch out into areas that are so diverse and so imaginative. It's wonderful to see the hobby. I think this is the I think this is going to be the golden age, and we're gonna look back at the '80s as being almost like the Bronze Age or the Iron Age of role playing. It's a wonderful time
Yeah.
to be imaginative.
Yeah, it could
Um,
be. People are talking about like a renaissance, a re-emerging golden age that's been going on for the past maybe 10 years or
mm,
so. But I don't think it's going to stop here. I think it's just going to grow and grow from here. I think it's role-playing games are here to stay. There's not going to be another Magic the Gathering that just kills
yeah,
tabletop RPG scene. Or, yeah, of course computer games were also partly involved with that, but I think what's happening now with the new technique that's developing is just, the VTTs, the virtual tabletops, that may change how many people play the game, but they're still going to be playing the tabletop games. There's not going to be a huge innovation that will draw people away from role-playing games the way that computer games and Magic the Gathering did in the late 90s, early 2000s, I think.
Yeah. I for myself, I know that, there's a huge difference between playing online and speaking like this, which is fine, and I enjoy it. But playing around a table and not having any cell phones, not having any electronics, I've now this year stopped using my iPad for a lot of the PDF stuff, and I'm using books again. Um, just to kinda show the kids that I play with, because that's the majority of the people that I play with, lot like in person, uh, that interpersonal relationships and getting to know you by playing games is a
Mm.
great way of learning how to socially interact. Back in
Hmm.
the 80s, we used to go to dances. There were other types of things that you'd go to. Nowadays, when I talk to this group of 15-year-olds, they're mostly in their room playing games, and they're they don't they're not as open. They don't have as many opportunities to be with each other, to just be imaginative. Everything's kind of a video game is still a railroad, no matter what. It may seem open, uh, but it's not the same as crafting something together, and
Yeah.
experiencing that together. There's something brilliant about that. And online is very close, but you still have people who are looking at other things on their
Yeah.
screens.
Yeah. I mean, I always say that, you can compare it with food or, something like that, that uh, playing role-playing games is, a three-course homemade meal. But of course, if you don't have that, you're gonna have to be like I would be very happy eating, frozen food and from the microwave, which is VTTs for me. It's frozen microwave food. Uh, but if I can't get a three-course meal, I'd rather eat the frozen microwave food than not eat at all. You
Yeah,
know, and same with listening to podcasts. Like it doesn't um, take the place of playing yourself. It just complements playing yourself. And I had a long hiatus when my kids were small, where I just couldn't play because I
yeah,
also have four kids and got them fairly
yeah,
a few years apart. So there were years and that's when I discovered actual play podcasting because I had this hunger for RPGs. I couldn't play, and then I heard someone online saying like, "Oh, you can listen to people playing," and I was like, "Why would I do that?" And then I tried
yeah,
it, and I was like, "Hey, it really feels like I'm one of the people around the table. I really get that feeling, and that's nice."
yeah. In the 90s, I had all my kids, except for one, my last, and so we would have people come over to our place. We had a teeny tiny apartment, 3 kids, and we'd still have people over, but once they reached around 3 and 4, it just increasingly became impossible for us to have people around to our place, and to leave meant that my wife or myself wouldn't be able to play, and so, there was that vacuum of not, and I can see it in my library that there's just this vacuum of not playing, and
Mm,
then it took a lot to get back into it,
mm,
and, and then I taught my kids, and that was great, but they were playing WoW, and we were playing WoW as a family, and it was
mm,
great,
mm,
but we were all, in retrospect, we were all very separate, even though we were all in the
mm,
same room, and
mm,
4 of us had accounts, we were all doing our own thing.
mm,
Whereas, we started to get into board games, and we played a lot of them together, and that face-to-face interaction was great.
mm,
But when you have a young family, um,
mm.
and as families are as diverse as everything,
Yeah, of course.
you have different challenges.
Mm,
Um, and my son is
sure.
divorced, and so, the challenge of when can we get together to even
Mm,
do
mm,
something together.
yeah.
So, um, And as as I start to reach my golden years and I start to reflect on, okay, what's the next 10, 15, 20? Oh, wait. Uh, and in my profession, I'm burying people like on this past week, I buried somebody who was 64. So 4 years older than me. And so you start to have a great appreciation for the time that you have.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
if I have any regret, I wish that I were like you and 20 years ago or 30 years ago had kept working on a world or on something that I wanted to develop. It's still not late. It's I'm not dead yet. But
Mm.
it's that seize the day, carpe
Yeah.
diem, and realize that time goes very, very quickly.
Mm.
And the world is
Yeah.
changing very quickly. So who knows what the next month or week or 6 months is going to bring about, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So enjoy the time. Enjoy the time. Well,
Yeah, exactly.
well, I've really enjoyed the time. Thank you so much, Andreas. I'm gonna stop the stream, and thank you all for watching. This has been
Thank you.
it's been a wild ride of a lot of different things. Please, please go to Kickstarter, go to Windheim, Fallen, and back that. Please get the physical stuff. It's worth it, and look at those separate add-ons. The map pack is worth it. The dice are absolutely worth it. Actually, everything is top quality. So try to go all in. It's going to be great. So with that, I'm going to say goodbye to the stream, and I'll see you at some point. Who knows what I'll do next.
Thank you for watching.